In this video, I'm going to walk you step by step through the summary elements that you'll find in your human design chart. All of the different charts present the same information, just differently. And so we're going to walk through that type, strategy, authority, profile, incarnation cross, all kinds of different things that are summarized on your chart. And I'm going to explain to you what they mean and how you can look at your chart and understand why it is that you have those different features. And by the end of this video, you're going to have a good idea about how to read what you're looking at to understand your human design. There's a lot of different elements here, so I encourage you to stay on until the end so that you can get every single piece that matters for you on your human design chart. I'm also going to tell you the things that you can ignore on your chart, because there's some things that are on there depending on what your printout is like. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in. If you're new to my channel, I'm Maggie Ostara. I'm a human design enthusiast. I've been studying and practicing and living human design for almost a decade, and I'm delighted to get to share this system with you. I am certified level 4. I've done hundreds of readings and worked with thousands of students through my online programs, and I welcome you to my channel. Okay. So let's start by taking a look at these summary sections that I'm talking about with the chart. So you'll see with the different printouts that the information is presented somewhat differently. In this first one, we can see it goes type, conditioning theme, which is like your emotional theme, and your strategy, and then the profile, the incarnation cross, the definition, and the inner authority. Then with this one, it goes through the type, the themes, again, the emotional theme, the profile, and this one has birth dates on it. And then this one also starts with the birth dates and the birthplace, even has the coordinates on it. It's going through type, profile, definition, incarnation cross, inner authority, strategy, and themes. Now, with this particular one, I would say for you, especially if this is new for you, you could ignore everything below here where it says design and all of those different pieces and personality. I would say just leave those aside for now because they are not really part of the core piece that you need to know when you're first discovering and learning your human design. We're going to go through each of these pieces step by step, and let's, obviously you know what your birthday, your time, and your place are, so we're not going to talk about that so much, but that is how we run a chart, is based on the birth date and time and place. So let's talk about the core parts of this summary that we want to take a look at. That has to do with type, strategy, and authority. Now, this is an interesting graphic. This is the most recent statistics that come from Jovian Archive. So Jovian Archive, it was the Jovian school that the founder of human design created, and there are people who are still continuing on his work. He passed on a number of years ago. But they have over 1 million different files. I don't know if it tells us exactly how many, but I think there might even be several million files that they're drawing from in order for us to get these statistics. So you can see here that there are, the biggest type are generators, and then manifesting generators, and then manifestors, projectors, and reflectors. And I always like to say, even though reflectors are just 1% of the population, that's still millions of people. I know lots of reflectors. I've had many reflectors come to me for readings and have been in my programs. So I just want you to know there are plenty of reflectors around, even though they're just 1%. So every type also has a strategy. So the type is like what your role is in life. It's not your personality. Don't think of it as personality. Think of it as about how you're designed to dance with the flow of life, how you're designed to work with spirit and show up in optimal ways in the world. And so every one of the different types has a strategy that actually helps protect them from doing things that are going to just drain their energy, where they're going to be beating their head against the wall. And a lot of times when people come to me for a reading, that's kind of the place that they're in. And they're like, oh my gosh, how can human design help me to have my life be easier and more clear, and for me to not have to be, struggling and trying so hard in my life. Now, for all generator types have the sacral center, which is the most powerful engine in the chart. defined, and it's the red square down towards the bottom of the chart. So every generator type, whether it's a pure generator or a manifesting generator, is going to have that red square on their chart. And then all the generator types are designed to respond. And this is how we're designed to dance with the flow of life. So the sacral is responsive. It's really super powerful, but it works best through response. And we can drain the sacral if we're initiating too much. It's not really the way that we're designed to work. And so what this means is that we are in a state of grace, really working with the creative intelligence of the universe. And when we are focusing on what it is that we want, what we're desiring, what we're interested in, what's lighting us up, right, then we can ask the flow of life, and we can be in a state of being like, bring me things to respond to so that I know if I'm moving in the right direction. How do I work with you? And as you build the skill of your strategy, what happens is that you start to have this really beautiful relationship with spirit. And for generators, we do that through response. Now, manifesting generators are a little bit different because they do have manifesting energy. They have the same quality that manifestors have, which technically means they have a motor to the throat. You don't need to worry about what that means right now if you're new to human design, but just know they have this manifesting energy. And so for them, once they do respond, then they definitely can engage and initiate. Now, the truth is all generator types can do that, and even projectors and reflectors can do this as well. Once you have entered into something correctly, you can initiate more. It's not that you can never initiate. It's about how you enter into things. But those manifesting generators, they have more of that manifesting energy. So they're going to have more of an impulse to want to initiate and to engage with things and to kind of make things happen. And that's fine for them, provided that they enter into it first through response. Now, let's talk about our manifestors. Our manifestors are the only type that are designed straight up. Go ahead and initiate. They have a motor to the throat, which means one of the power centers in the chart is somehow connected to their throat, which is the center for manifesting and activating an expression. And so when they feel that creative impulse that's coming from that motor that they have to the throat, that they get this impulse to want to initiate. And that's great for our manifestors. They go ahead and do that. And the manifestors often give people like me, I'm a pure generator, something to respond to. So we love that. Those manifestors are there really making waves of energy that we generators then get to respond to, because we generators, because we have that sacral energy, we're here to be the builders of the world. We love to create. We love to work. We need to be engaged. A bored generator is not a pretty sight. We really want to be engaging with life. And a lot of times manifestors give us things that we then get to respond to. Then we have our projectors. And the projectors are not an energy type. So they don't have a motor to the throat. They don't have a defined sacral. And so for projectors, they're really here to kind of have a bird's eye view, to see things from a higher place and to kind of be able to see, you could work better this way, or you could work better that way. So according to the lore of human design, projectors are here to be the leaders of the future. And they've even been renamed orchestrators in quantum human design because of this ability to kind of want to orchestrate and organize and facilitate. And it's a good role for them because they don't have that long-term sustainable energy that the generators type, and they don't have the power that the manifestors have. And so for projectors, their strategy is to be recognized and then to be invited. And this protects our projectors from overworking, from overdoing things, because it's when somebody recognizes them and says, wow, look, they've got really something interesting going on. I want to find out more. And then they invite them, please share with me. What are you doing? This is a great example of a way that a projector can be invited. And so projectors do not want to waste their energy, that kind of proverbial throwing pearls before swine. They don't want to be doing that, right? They want to be engaging whatever it is that's lighting them up in their life. And then they want to be recognized by others and then invited. And then our final but not the least type that we have are reflectors. And reflectors are highly sensitive people. And their role is to be able to taste the energy of an environment, whether that's simply in their home, with their family, or with the other people that they live with, or if it's in a workplace, or maybe a faith-based community, or their neighborhood, whatever it might be. And they're there to help us understand how is the community working? Is the environment working? Are people happy? Is it healthy here? Because they can kind of feel where things are off and they can reflect that back to us. And even though reflectors are just 1% of the population, they are still millions and millions of people. I've met lots of reflectors. I have several in my programs. And so they definitely are around. So don't dismiss reflectors just because they're 1% of the population. Okay, so that's type and strategy. So strategy always goes with type. And then there's authority. Sometimes authority goes with type, but not always. Now, our authority is the way that we are designed to make the best decisions for this. Oh my gosh, right? What a relief. I talk to so many people who go around and around trying to make good decisions for themselves, and they get super frustrated because they are trying to figure things out with their minds. Now, one of the interesting things to know about authorities in human design is none of them are logical or rational or strategic or anything like that. So if you've been making decisions with your mind, chances are your brain hurts, right? And one of the things we say in human design is never make your decisions with your mind. So let's just go through what these different authorities are. So all generators have sacral authority. That red square is a superpower for generators, whether you're a pure generator or a manifesting generator. And the sacral gives us responses. It's nonverbal. It's non-emotional. It's the gut response that just is like affirmative or negative, right? It's like or I have a bunch of different videos about that, so you can go and research for that on my channel if you want to find out more about sacral authority. It's a beautiful superpower that we have. It becomes like your best friend when you really get to know it. And I do love to support people to get in touch with their sacral authority. Now, then we also have emotional authority. Now, people who have their emotional solar plexus defined in their chart, it's the brown triangle on the right-hand side of the chart, pointing in. It's about 50% of the population, so it's a lot of people. Now, there can be a lot of confusion around emotional authority because some people think, oh, that means I'm supposed to make emotional decisions. In fact, it's just the opposite. You're not supposed to make decisions emotionally because emotions can sway you one way or the other. That can lead you from having more clarity. So if you're a generator type, and this is almost 70% of the population are generator types, you want to use your sacral authority, but then you also want to give yourself time to make sure you get a clear yes, because you don't want your emotional tone to be influencing you in making the best decisions for you. I've met a lot of people who are emotionally defined who have a history of making decisions they regretted later because they made them more emotional. So if you're emotionally defined and you're a generator, definitely use your sacral authority. If you're a different type, you might want to look at the other kind of authority that you would have if you were not emotionally defined. So if you want to go into more depth about that, go to my video about emotional authority here, and that helps explain it as well. So there is emotional authority, but don't be fooled that you're supposed to make emotional decisions, because no, you're not. Then there's another one that can also be confusing. It's called splenic authority. And this is when you have the spleen defined in your chart. And it's a brown triangle that is on the left-hand side of the chart pointing in. It's actually on the right-hand side of the body, but it's pointing in. And this is the center for instinct and for intuition and for the immune system and right timing. And the splenic authority can help you understand a bit about timing and so on. I actually have splenic authority on one of the printouts from my chart because I do have a defined spleen. But I personally am a generator. I would rather use my sacral authority because it's much more clear cut. I find splenic authority to be less clear cut. If you are not a generator and you don't have your sacral defined, then you can use your splenic authority. But if you're a generator, I would encourage you to use your sacral authority. So that's my general suggestion, because it can get mired in fear, because it is the center for instinct. And so that splenic authority can be a little bit hard to get super clear on, whereas that sacral is super clear. Now, if you are a manifester, you want to look out what motor is going to the throat. So for a lot of manifestors, you can have ego manifestor authority. So that's particularly if you have the will center connected to the throat, as you can see in this particular image. Now for a projector, they can also have ego authority. Ego is another name for the will center, but then that will is gonna go into the G center. So that's technically how that works. But then there's also self-projected authority, which a lot of projectors have, which is where you have one of the channels from the G center connected up to the throat. You can see this here in this image. And then there's also mental projected authority, which is where you have a channel coming from the ajna center to the throat. Mental projected authority can be tricky because it is more mental, and yet we're not meant to make decisions with our minds. And so this is a place, if you have splenic authority as well, then you might want to be using that in addition to that mental projected authority. The main thing I want to say about authority is sometimes people find this pretty tricky when they're first new to human design. So if you find this tricky, just know that this happens for a lot of people. It's not you. And it just takes some practice, okay? It takes some practice. It takes some faith, really, to be able to move out of the thinking tower and to move down into your body, because your authority is really meant to be coming more from your body and your body wisdom. And I just gave you some of the places where it comes from in the body, and you can do more research about this. But the main thing to understand is the authorities are here to protect you from trying to figure things out with your mind. They're here to protect you from using the thinking tower to do this, because in my experience, unfortunately, the mind cannot make a good decision because it doesn't know how to settle. It doesn't know how to finally come to a decision and say, oh yes, this really feels it, right? You feel that in your body. When you really get to the right decision, you feel it in your body, whereas your mind just keeps being active and it falls into FOMO. And as soon as you make a decision, it goes, yeah, but what about this? And you're going to lose out on that. And then you won't be able to do this other thing, right? So just know the main thing about authority is to get in your body and learn how to feel what it's telling you. And human design will show you where to look in your body. So the next part that we want to know about is the profile. So your profile is like your character. It's like if you were a character in a book. This is what it's going to show you is, so your type is your role in life, right? How are you engaging with that creative intelligence of the universe? How is it directing you? How is it supporting you and helping you out, right? And then your authority is how do you make the best decisions for you? And then your profile just kind of gives you a clue as to how you're showing up kind of as a character, right? So if you think about this as a character in a book or a character in a movie, right? And you kind of go, oh, that person's there. That's just their character. It's just a fun thing to get to know about yourself. And it can help you to really appreciate and understand yourself better. It can help you to make better decisions because sometimes your profile does work with your authority because you can be like, oh yeah, this is what feels right to me. Okay, here's an image of all of the different human design profiles. And on the left-hand side, these are the traditional human design names. On the right-hand side, these are the quantum human design names. You can go ahead and screenshot this if you want. This is actually a slide from my Activate Your Superpowers Understanding Human Design program. I have a few different slides that I decided to share with you here. So I'll put the link for that program if that's something you think you might want to, really go deeper into human design with. It's a comprehensive introduction to human design, goes much deeper into all of these. And by the time that you're finished with that particular program, you actually can do simple readings for people. I wouldn't call it a professional level, but I would definitely say it's something that can help you if you already work with clients or if you just want to do readings for your friends and your family. It can definitely teach you how to do that. So these are all of the different ones, and it's based on the lines. And I want to show you in this image where to look on your chart. So your profile comes from where the sun is. Okay, so the oval shape with the dot in the middle, that's the symbol for the sun. And you'll find the black one at the very top of that column of numbers on your chart. And the red one will be on the left-hand side at the very top of the red column of the numbers in your chart. And then it's the point and then the number. So here in this example, it's 20.4. In the other example, it's 55.6. That makes this person a 4-6 profile. So what this is the line of the gate 20 for when you were born, and it's the line of the gate 56, 88 days prior to when this person was born that creates that. Now, if you want to know more about this and you didn't get a chance to go and watch part 1 of this video, do that, because it'll teach you more about what all of those different pieces mean. Okay, great. And it's fun. It's like I'm a 2-4, so I'm a hermit opportunist in traditional human design, or I'm a responder foundation in quantum human design. And I actually really relate to my profile, and recognizing that I'm a hermit helped me to embrace that part of me that really is kind of introverted. It's the part of me that loves to do all the research to create these videos for you and work on my project, shoot the video and then go edit it and get it out to you. The hermit really helps me to do all of that, right? The opportunist part of me is the part that wants to do the outreach to say, hey, have you seen my new video yet? Right? So I have both of those that are going on inside of me, and it's really helped me to embrace some parts of myself that I'd kind of put on the side a little bit more. So you may find that when you check out your profile as well. I'd like to mention this piece about definition because sometimes people can get really confused, because we also use definition to name just the colored parts of the chart. And again, I went through this in part 1 quite a bit, so you can go and check that out because I explain it there. I'm not going to explain it here. But we also have another way that we talk about definition, and that has to do with whether or not the constellations of the channels and the centers that you have in your chart, if they're connected to each other, or if you have more than one constellation. Now, let me show you what I mean. So this first image is of a single definition. You'll see each one of the colored centers, okay, they're all connected to each other. So the sacral down at the bottom is connected to the emotional solar plexus here on the left, which is connected to the will center. Okay, so those are all connected. And then that emotional solar plexus is also connected to the throat. So all 4 of those centers are connected to each other. And then in this next image, this is what we call a split definition. Here we've got the ajna center, which is the green triangle at the top, connected to the throat. And then all the way down at the bottom of the chart, we've got the spleen center connected to the root. And then this is a kind of a large split because you can see there's a lot of space in between where these different configurations are, the different constellations are. And then this is a triple split where we've got 3 different constellations of centers that are connected to each other. So on the top, we've got 2 connected here. In the middle, we've got the G and the will connected to each other. And then we've got the throat and the spleen and the root over here on the side, all connected to each other, right? But we've got 3 distinct different constellations that are not connected to each other. And then a triple split is like, oh my goodness, there's 8 different centers that are defined, and they're all in pairs, but they're not connected to each other. Now, you can go much more deeply into understand what all of this means, but the short version of it is the single definition person has all of their energy connected to each other. So they tend to feel pretty good on their own. Like I said, I'm a hermit and I'm also a single definition. And so for me, I feel pretty good on my own. Like I don't feel a super strong need to be with other people. Whereas people with a split definition, they really like to have a partner, whether that's a love relationship or somebody they live with or a business partner or just a super good best friend, because it helps them to what we call bridge their split. So the energies from the different constellations can connect with each other and they can get things moving. And this is really true for people with triple splits and with quadruple splits also. They really really love to be in groups of people, because when they're in groups of people, a lot of times their energy gets all hooked up together, and all of a sudden they start to feel like, wow, I have so much more energy, I have so much more clarity. Because sometimes people, for example, with that split definition I showed you, they can almost feel like they have two different personalities or two different ways of being in the world, because those constellations are so separate from each other. So check it out for yourself. What is your definition that's there on that summary part? And see, how does that relate for you? Does this sound accurate for you, or do you have a different experience? And then the final piece that we're going to go over in this video is a really important part. So I'm glad you stayed on here till the end, because this is the incarnation cross. Now, there's different ways to understand incarnation crosses, and I want to just invite you, if you want to, you can go online, or you can pick up a book like this. I actually highly recommend this book. This is the Encyclopedia of Quantum Human Design, and it has all the different incarnation crosses in it. So you can pick up a resource like that can help you understand your incarnation cross. But the thing I want to just share with you today is that you can also empower yourself more by learning what the gates are. So what is the incarnation cross? The incarnation cross is made up of the 4 different gates that has to do with your conscious sun, your conscious earth, your unconscious sun, and your unconscious earth. So you can see with this image here, they're basically the top 4 gates at the top of the lines of numbers and symbols on your chart. It's a great place for you to start a deeper research project, is for you to go and find out, what are these different gates and what do they mean? And then in addition to that, how do they relate to each other? Because there's usually some kind of a creative tension, what we might even call a soul curriculum, inside of your incarnation cross right there. And so as you grow and as you evolve, you'll start to understand your incarnation cross even more. Ra, the founder of Human Design, even said your incarnation cross will just kind of automatically unfold for you in the course of your life. So you can wait for that if you want to, but you can also go and research what those different gates are and start to develop your own relationship with them. And so your earth, whatever the earth is lighting up, both in the conscious and in the unconscious, whatever it's lighting up is what you're meant to ground yourself in. And then the sun, when you're really grounded, the sun is what you're here to shine out into the world, right? It's the light that you're going to shine out into the world. You want to be able to have that grounding so that you can shine. Because if you don't have that grounding, sometimes you can feel a little wobbly when you're trying to shine your light out into the world. So it's a fun project for you, and I would really encourage you to do that. In part 1, I did share a list of all of the different human design gates and a short version of what they mean. So you can go and grab that from that other video if you haven't had a chance to already. Exploring your incarnation cross is a little bit more of an advanced project. I do encourage you to do it when you feel like you're ready. But just to summarize what we have talked about today, the first thing for you to dive into is your type, strategy, and authority, and your profile. Those are really core pieces for you, and it's great to be spending some time in there to get to know them well before you want to go deeper into other things. Sometimes people get really interested in the gates. They want to find out all about the gates. But what I have seen is that you don't really get the full benefit of the whole chart, like of all of your gates and all of your channels and all of your centers and all of that, until you have a deep understanding of your type, strategy, authority, and profile. So I would encourage you to do those first and use these 2 videos, the part 1 and part 2, to help you to understand so that your logical mind can feel more satisfied, because learning how to live your type, strategy, authority, and profile can take a little time. It takes a little practice. So my best advice to you is give yourself time. Don't be in a hurry. Let yourself marinate in it. Take a piece, live with it, reflect on it when you're going through your day, right? Talk to friends about it. Go and do a little more research about it, and get the Transform Your Life with Human Design ebook series. And it comes with a deep dive journal, which has a lot of different questions that helps you to really kind of process and digest what it is that you're learning, and then help you to apply it in your life. Because here's the thing. if you just stay with human design at the level of information, you're not going to get the full benefit of it, right? Because that's just the mind candy, right? And so you want to move beyond just learning information. You want to make it real in your life. This is one of the things I do with people all the time. So do contact me, reach out if you're wanting to do that more. I do have a Sovereign Sisterhood membership program where we're working with this every month. And so I invite you to check that out if that's something that is of interest to you. And I'll put all of the links for all of the different references that I've mentioned down in the description today. And I really want to just, like I said, I'm a human design enthusiast, and I want to invite you to, just dive in, have some fun, hold it lightly, allow it to liberate you from confining to conditioning that maybe has led you to live inside of a box that is just not you. You can manifest your full potential when you come to understand yourself outside of that limiting box and energized by your human design. Thank you so much for being here today. And if you want to find out more about that Transform Your Life with Human Design, I did do a video that will help you know how to use what you're already learning. And you can go and watch that video here. That would be a great next one for you to watch. Okay. Many blessings. Much love.